Good morning, viewers. Welcome to NOA River State Dialogue. This is a weekly sensitization program of the National Orientation Agency, River State, supported by UNICEF. Our topic of discussion today is child-parent communication and the enhancement of societal values. Now, communication is the engine of social relationship, and the success of any relationship depends on the quality of the relationship. We have also discovered that parents are the first agents of communication or communicating societal and cultural values to children. These cultural values help to form their individual personality and the nation as a whole. It has also been observed that our traditional and societal values, which form part of our cultural heritage, and have also guided our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions in the past, have been eroded, misplaced, and in some areas suppressed by foreign pop culture and some negative Western values. Now, Nigeria is experiencing a value crisis presently, and it's evidently seen among our children and our youths, where we have children that can no longer speak cannot speak their indigenous languages. They cannot write or read it. We have increasing lack of respect for elders and constituted authority. We have general indiscipline, immorality, corruption, drug abuse, violent acts like terrorism, kidnapping, rape, and other social vices. I have a specialist, an expert in this field. She's a friend of the agency. She's a mommy that is so dear to us, and her name is Honorable Dr. Mrs. and Pastor Nancy Ipiriye Chidiwako. You're welcome, ma.
Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we are particularly excited to have her in the studio with us this morning. She's a busy person, but thank you, ma, for finding time to be here with us this morning.
It's a general pain. I thank God for making it possible.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're going to have a wonderful discussion, a wonderful time on this program. And I would like to ask that if you are streaming live with us right now, you might need to get a notebook and a pen, because there's so much, and I know that our mommy here is charged up, she's prepared, and there are lots of things you can gain from this program this morning. Remember that you can send in your comments, questions, and suggestions, and she's here, to take it up. You can also send us your experiences. Let's talk this morning. I'd like to start right now. Mommy, can you tell us about yourself?
Thank you. Good morning, all. By God's special grace, I'm Honorable Pastor Dr. Mrs. Nancy Ipiriye Chidiwako. I'm an administrator, a social worker, and a counseling psychologist. Immediate past Commissioner for Commerce and Industry, a one-time Commissioner for Women Affairs, a one-time board member, River State Microfinance Agency, and I retired after 35 years of meritorious service.
Wow.
As the head of the department for University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. Yeah. I'm married with 4 God-fearing children, 2 males, 2 females. Wow. Eldest 30 years.
Wow.
And the last one 21 years.
Wow. So viewers, I want you to sit tight, because we're going on the road, and I know that you would not miss anything out here. So thank you again, Mommy, for finding out time to be with us on this program. So we're talking about our value system being eroded, misplaced. How did it all start? What's your impression about our societal values?
Thank you very much. You see, societal, let me start by at least letting us know what societal value is. Societal value are acceptable norms in the society, a prescribed way for an ideal society. Now, if these norms are not followed, if these norms are not displayed, if these norms are not obeyed, the society will be in shambles.
Okay.
And who are the custodians that need to pass this on to the children. It's the parents.
Okay.
And for me, I like to state here that the family, who is the parent now? A husband and a wife, taking care of their children, sharing their needs, discussing their problems, teaching the children, passing knowledge as adults to the upcoming ones. And I want to state here that the parents are responsible passing information through communication and actions, because these children, when they come into the world like a blank sheet.
Okay.
Anything written on the blank sheet is what you see and what you read and what they buy.
Yeah.
And so it behoves on the parents to be the ones to inculcate these societal values into the children by positive communication, interaction, and actions.
Okay. Okay. So what are these societal values we're talking about? Can you give us an example of some of them?
Yeah. As a child is growing up, that child is being taught to be patient, to be respectful, to be hardworking, to be loving, filled with compassion, to be God-fearing. Now, if a child is properly taught these things, and if it's a family, a healthy family, that these attributes are found, for sure the child is growing into a mature person in the society. Now, when you have well brought up children, you'll discover that in the society they will be filled with the spirit of dignity, diligence, accountability, perseverance. They will be already, as you're bringing them up, they've fortified themselves with coping capabilities to stand adversities when it comes. To know that there is a problem and there's need for me to start solving that problem. To know that there's a problem and you shouldn't show a misplaced aggression or taking actions that are negative. You have already conditioned their mind to face adversities and to live a well-meaning life. And when you have a society where rules, regulations abide, where people follow traditions and rituals, for sure that society will be developed.
But do we have that now? Do we see that in our homes? I know that, even growing up as a child, my parents were really strict. There are certain things that you are not permitted to do. Yeah. You have said that there are laws, there should be laws in the home that the children follow, growing up.
Yeah.
And that it gets to some time that your mother doesn't even need to talk to you.
Of course.
Just looking at you,
yes,
you will straighten up yourself. Are we seeing that now?
Thank you. In every healthy family, you have family rules.
Yeah.
I think parents have derailed.
Yeah.
Most times you pamper the child to a fault. Most times you correct these children without telling them what the problem is.
Yeah.
For me as a parent, if you have a family rule, the children should live by the family rule.
Okay.
The children should be corrected with love. You correct a child. The Bible says, if you spare the rod, you spoil the child.
Yeah.
The Bible again says, train up a child in the way the child will go, and when he grows, he will not depart from it. Now, what am I saying in essence? With these family rules in place, the child knows that if there is a fault and there is expectation of discipline. But most parents over-pamper the children. You see a situation where a child is going, you say, don't do that, don't do that. You kept saying, don't do that, don't do that, and the child is doing that. The child will snub you publicly. That is not too good. Now, in a situation where you tell a child, why did you do this? Most times we have to be careful as not to pose ourselves to the children as if we're wicked or want to punish the child.
Okay.
When a child goes wrong, you say, for this reason.
Okay.
Just give that child the reason why you're giving that discipline.
Okay.
And if that child is being disciplined, and because that child knows that this will attract this, the child will not want to go into it.
Okay.
So most time parents, I think we have derailed. Teach that child, train that child the way you want the child to do it. But the issue is that the parent you're talking about, how prepared is the parent?
Okay.
The parent you're talking about, how is the social functioning of that parent? Is it a parent filled with sarcasm? Is it a parent that ignores? Is it a parent that neglects? Is it a parent that does not want burden? Is it a parent that is one-sided in your roles? You could have multiple roles, but you must give attention to the children. Your job must not take away your attention from your children, so that you do the right thing at the right time.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just, why is it that parents have lost it? Why?
It's funny. If you want to go into marriage, you should know what is expected of you as a wife and as a husband.
Okay.
But most of us, let's say we go into it maybe just for personal satisfaction, just for money, or just for personal comfort. And I'll see that as selfishness.
Okay.
Now, if you go into a marriage, you should know that procreation is the next thing.
Yeah.
Now, as you procreate, you should know that you have responsibilities. Once you're a parent, there's responsibility and there's reasonability, which must be accomplished.
Okay.
So in sum, most parents, you like the films you watch, you see a parent would prefer, instead of preparing breakfast, taking children through morning devotion, monitoring children morning duties. We misplace our time. Time management is a problem there. You don't do those things. You stand up, you wake up very selfish, you take your bath, you tidy yourself, you wear your good clothes, you're off to work. Now, because of selfishness again, you want to make more money. Some stay overtime. Parents purposely hand over their rightful duties to the house helps, which is not supposed to be.
Yeah.
You're there to take care of the children emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and otherwise. So the presence of the parents is very necessary. Truly, parents have derailed, and there's need for us to go back to where we think we've lost it and start afresh. There is great need for orientation, proper orientation and reorientation where we have derailed.
Okay. Now let's move over to the side of the child now. What's the aspect of the child that we need to talk about?
The aspect of the child we need to talk about.
What's their role in this?
Yes. The role of a child in this is obedience.
Okay, that's the key word.
Obedience.
Yes.
Now, let me start by saying, you can, as a psychologist, I know you can speak to the child in the womb.
Okay.
Even in the issue of Elizabeth visiting Mary and then the baby in the womb leaped and all that, that is communication, though on the spiritual aspect of it. But when the child is born, the child is helpless.
Okay.
The child is dependent, solely dependent on you. Now it behoves you to take this child step by step. Now, for the side of the child, all you need to do is obedience. But before obedience comes, love begets obedience.
Okay.
How have you brought up this child? How have you been able to build trust of this child in you? Have you been able to pass information? Have you been able to make this child to say, yes, my parents are truthful, they are trustworthy?
Okay.
Now, when these issues are in place, the child owes nothing than obedience. If you truly know that these are your parents, and the Bible says, obey your parents, your mother and your father, that your days will be long, you have to obey.
Okay.
Obey your parents, whatever laws or guidelines given to you, you obey them. Of course, when you do it, you see the prospects, you see the negative and the positive aspect of it. So, for every sensible child that is obedient, you have to toe the right path to live a good life.
Okay, so it's the parents that actually, because when the child is small, that little child growing up, and then how do you now make that child obey? I think the parents have a role to play. Like you said initially, that there are laws that are in the home, and then if the child grows up to meet those laws and knows that if I do something wrong, this is what my parents will do to me, and all that. The parents also trying to get the child to know that there's a reward even for doing right. So I think the parents have a role also to instill that obedience, in the children. Now let's talk about still on the child aspect. We'll find out that there's a lot of disrespect in the lives of our youths. No respect for constituted authority. We see that every day, even in their dressing, when we see our children outside dressed, in a way that, it doesn't represent anything good. What has brought this? What has brought this?
You see, I've already said that a growing child is solely dependent on the parents.
Yes.
And for children, what they see is what they replicate.
Okay.
Now, if you're a parent, you are a role model to your children.
Yeah.
A child that sees the parent quarrel, a child that sees the parent abuse, a child that sees the parent gossip, a child that sees the parent, there's no good thing you can learn from that parent. Okay. That child is bound to grow that way. The child is bound to grow that way. The environment has extreme effect on the children. Now, as a parent, you teach that child how to respect.
Okay.
You teach that child modesty.
Okay.
You teach that child truthfulness. You monitor that child. Your sole responsibility is supervision. Now laws are being given out. Yeah. How have you supervised it? Mm-hmm. In the course of supervision, a child, a youth, because of a peer influence or they are mixing up as they go to school and come back, you discover that this child does not dress the way he is brought up. Mm-hmm. You discover that this child has taken so much to internet issues. Mm-hmm. If you want to truly stand on your role, the supervisory role as a parent, you monitor what that child watches. Okay. You monitor who are the friends. You should know the friends of your children. Okay. You should, as a parent, you should be able to study your child to know what the child can do and what the child cannot do. Mm-hmm. Now it starts. Some parents, you just believe that some parents, mostly when you have the daughters, okay. Sorry to say here, for the little ones that are being raped, the parents expose. Now you have a daughter, a growing girl. You see her well built. You see the shape. And when you want to get clothes, I want to talk solely on modesty here. Okay. When you want to get clothing for these children, you get her bum shorts. You get her clothes that expose the tummy. And you have house boys and house helps around. Mm-hmm. You have the drivers around. Mm-hmm. You have the cousins and others, relations around. What do you expect when you're not there with that child? You are already exposing that child. Let me tell you one short story. There was a day we went to a birthday party. My children's school from Bereton, nursery and primary. We went to a birthday party. And then a mother was just teaching the small daughter of about 8, 9 how to dance and ejaculate. You know, and I saw that parents truly clapping and hailing the child. And thank God I was in the assessment board. I failed that child. Yes. Everybody gave good ovation. Listen, the issue about child upbringing and parenthood is like when the mother cow is trained, the baby cow watches what the mother is doing. Yeah. So solely parents has a role to play there. Yeah. Now, most times, whatever you see the child portray outside, it's from the mother. It's from the mother. If you bring up a child with a compassionate spirit, that child will have, even when you're offended outside, you have compassion. Yes. You want to know why. Yes. You want to say, no, something is wrong. I think this person is not in the right mood. Mm-hmm. You have the spirit of compassion and the spirit of a good social relationship. Okay. If it is there in the home. Yeah. Now you don't give out what you don't have. This, yes. You don't give out what you don't have. So parents, I still lay it on the parents. Mm-hmm. But there's something I want to add up here, please, my dear. Yes, the rules, the traditions, the rituals, they are eroded. For me as a social worker, I'm solution focused. Okay. As it stands now, my major problem and question is, what do we do? Yes, I'm going to come to there's no need to hand over the spilled milk. It's already spilled. Yeah. What do we do to restore our youths and to restore our nation? Yeah, we quickly have to go. Let me take you on some comments. We have a lot coming in, so we could hear also from them, the feedback, from them. We've been having a wonderful time. So if you have not connected yet, I want you to go to Facebook, search for NOA River State, click on the like button, and you're able to join this discussion live. I have from Mr. Bekimbo Williams. He says, NOA doing great job, need to be appreciated. Thank you. I also have from Senibo Abie. He says, NOA River State, your consistency and promptness to time is admired. Keep it up. Thank you so much. I have from Uche Odungweru. He says, especially in the areas of internet fraud and other corrupt practices, parents-child communication need to be improved, especially in the aspect of, we have 21st century kids now.
that they even know, how to operate. At 4 years, they know how to operate the system, and everything is open out there. Pornography, whatever they want, they see it there. They can operate it. So he's saying that parent-child communication needs to be improved. Parents need to have the basic knowledge which can enable them identify when their words are involved in love scam. I don't think it's just love scam. Parents have a lot to do in preventing them from examination malpractice. I think it's all encompassing, these vices. And he says, anyway, keep it up, you are actually trying. Sedibos says, parents can only give what they have in bringing up their children. Our guest has said that is what you have that you give out. I also have from William, say, children most times say, my auntie say. Please, does it mean the children fear their aunties in school more than the directives at home? What is the way to correct this impression? It's a question that you find a lot of children, they say, my auntie in school said, even when the parents say, this is how it should be done. Say, but my auntie in school said this. This is what my auntie said, that's what I'm going to do. He says, what is the way? Is it good? And what is the way to correct this?
Thank you. That would go a long way to let you know that the parent has derailed.
Yeah, like you said. Yeah.
This is your child. You've not bonded.
Okay.
If you've bonded, that child will come back and say, Mommy, see what my auntie or teacher said. Not telling you as if the child wants to do what the auntie says. The auntie's opinion cannot override the parent's opinion.
Okay.
But that is an issue of, let me take the issue of homework, for example.
Okay.
If the mother is somebody that does not assist in homework, if the mother is somebody that is not involved in the child's homework, and the mother maybe does not, they have parent day. Not every parent day. For me, I assess my child's school and I know what it's. By the time the child starts going to school, it's a dual job. You relate with the child, you relate with the teachers. Okay. Now, if you're not in tune with the teachers, most times the child comes back with the assignment and you assisted the child the first time and the child goes back and fails. The child wouldn't trust you when it comes to homework. Yeah. Even when your teacher says, no, my auntie said like this. Oh, no, mommy, you will make me fail it. Or, no, mommy, last time you taught me, I failed it. Okay. The mother, the parents should be able to build that bond. Okay. And mostly with the mothers, because you're closest to that child. You brought that child. Spiritually, there's a relationship between you and that child. You should be more bonded. Now, if you've not kept yourself in such a way or communicated to your child in such a way that that child will have trust in you, the child wouldn't. Okay. And it depends on how you relate with that child. Okay. Children are very sensible, even if they are not, even because of fear, they wouldn't want to say things. Now, if you tell a child something and the child sees that it's lies, that child is bound not to trust you again. Yes. And if a child peradventure tells you something and he goes out to expose that child, the child for sure wouldn't tell you things. Now, how have you built your child? As a growing child, for me, from 2-3 years as they start kindergarten, sorry, let me divert a little. Okay. As they start kindergarten, please parents, can you tell your children, mostly the girl child, let the child know the treasure areas. Okay. Nobody plays with the bust. Nobody plays with the front. Nobody plays with the back. Okay. You understand? Mommy loves you. Anybody that does that, tell mommy, I love you and I'll keep you secret. You understand? You've developed a sense of confidentiality. You've already imparted a word or instruction to this child. And when the child goes out and sees that, the child will surely come back and say, Mommy, this thing you told me, see. The problem is you've not shown that child that you truly care. You've not been involved in that child's development. Yeah. So wherever you leave that vacuum or that gap, another person comes in to take that position, to take that place. It could be a teacher, it could be your gate man, it could be your cook, it could be anybody. So parents, please, let's be up and doing. That's what I want to charge parents. Okay, let me take more.
From Mr. Chinwe Okwara, he says the gap between parents and children is too wide in Nigeria. You had mentioned something like that, parents, say there is need to close this gap, as parents are the first role model, the first teacher, and the first character molder of the child. Our guest has said a lot in that aspect. From Mr. Bekimbo, it says, in all, parents should take responsibility and save society through family discipline. No disciplined home produces undisciplined children. Yeah, that's correct. Yes. No disciplined home produces undisciplined children. So parents should take responsibility. You have said that the parent is the first, agent, of parent. Ms. Chinyere Ita says, NOA River State, well done, you are indeed doing a great job. God bless you for this information. Thank you too. Thank you for streaming with us. We have from Mr. Seniboy. It says, can a child who is left in the hands of a housemaid most of the time grow up with the right values?
No, capital N-O. This maid is like a helper to you. Okay. And most of us, our maids, some family is very wicked that the maids don't even go to school. Some families are extremely wicked that the maids are being segregated. So when you leave the maids with your children, that is when they give back the repercussion of what you've done to them, to your children. Yeah. A maid is an assistance to the family. A maid cannot take up the proper role of the parents.
Even when the maid grows up with the laws in the home?
No, this maid is coming from somewhere.
Okay.
Already grown up.
Okay.
Comes to join the home.
Okay.
You don't leave supervision of your child to the maid.
Okay.
You don't. The maid is a helper. You are the parent.
Okay.
This child, do you know, a maid that has been born with daily activities at night cannot take care of the child.
Yes.
As a mother, as parents, you wake up at night to check your kids. Mm-hmm. This maid is coming from another family into your own family. Most times the background you don't know. Mm-hmm. Most times the health status you don't know. Yes. Now, how come you leave your children, you expose them to danger, leaving them wholly to the maid? Let me tell you, I retired as head of Department of Social Services. I experienced very bad cases. Do you know that some parents are so careless that they employ males that pretend to be females?
Really?
I've handled such cases. You employ a male. Oh God, you've lost your cautiousness. You've lost your spirit of discernment, mostly as a mother. You bring in a maid. Now that that boy braids hair, fixes bust. A mother you don't know. And before your child is being impregnated.
My God.
You take it that you brought a girl. Now, even when you bring a girl, look, I used to have house helps. You understand?
Yeah.
But I like grooming them up and you treat them well.
Yes.
But my house helps cannot feed my children. Yeah. Whatever you want to do with it, of course, they go to school together and I bring them back together. Okay. Or if it's a school bus, the school bus will bring them back together. My mom is already there. The house help cannot feed my child. If the house help is bathing my females, I go to do washing of the private parts. You understand? There are things yes, they are there, but there are things you don't allow them do for you. If you allow them do it, they will abuse it.
Yeah.
I've handled cases too where maybe a female house help always toys with the boys' private parts. If you're not observant, by the time you know it, your child's emotional and psychological area is being bruised.
Yeah.
It's being bruised. Please, parents, don't leave your roles for your house helps.
Yeah.
The house helps are there. Can you not direct what this, do this for me? But when it comes to upbringing of the children, that is your sole responsibility.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have from Blessing Jumbo. He says biblical injunction is that we should train up the children in the way he or she should go. When he or she grows up, she will not depart from it. Yeah, mommy in the house has said that. She has mentioned that in her discussion. We also have from Mr. Ellis Inriadapa. Parents should take responsibility not to leave their children in the hands of caregivers and maids. Training should start at home. Thank you, Mr. Abie. Since children believe so much in their teachers should cross-check properly what they pass on to them and should be seen as a role model to them. Do you agree with that?
The parent is the first role model.
Yes.
The parent is the first role model to the child. The teachers are professionals in their field.
Yeah.
They teach the child. They direct the child. Now, do you know there are issues where the teacher would even we've had cases, I've handled cases. Sorry, let me, as a social worker and as a practical person,
Yes,
I'll be bringing in cases.
Okay.
I prefer case studies. Do you know there are instances too where teachers indoctrinate the children into wrong activities, initiations, exposures to ills, like the internet thing you're talking about now. Some teachers too have been involved in that. But now the issue is that if you as the role model parents, if this heart is so built and conditioned to be able to know this is bad and this is good, even when this child is thrown into the society, the child will be able to know that no, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Most times, even when the child goes astray, the child should be able to come back home and confide in you and say, like if it's a university, you know they stay there and they come back. The child has to come back and say, I derailed, I did this. Even when it's difficult for the child to work on, the child will come back home and say, please pray for me. I think I'm not too strong to put off or to stay away. Please help me in prayer. You understand? Now, what I said, the teachers can be a role model when it comes to academic issues and maybe sometimes moral. But when the teachers take the upper hand, the parents, I repeat again, we have derailed.
Okay. And before we go on to talk about the way forward, I have from Jumbo said if parents fail to teach the children at home, they will definitely learn from their peer groups out there. You know. Yeah, thank you. You have also said that today. You know, recently I've observed that sometimes the children blackmail their parents. You know, like I said, let's talk about the communication. This communication is a two-way thing. The parents trying to do their own part for the ones that are doing it right, and they find that because these children also leave the home and they go out there, they mix with people outside. Some of them get negatively influenced, peer group pressure, because you see maybe a friend saying, "I know what my mother did," and then they now think up things and say, because the mother corrects you for doing so and so thing wrong, you now look for ways to blackmail the parents.
I want to stand firmly here to declare, whether it's your child, your neighbor's child, a youth on the way, you correct with love.
Okay.
You know somebody, that video went viral, a mother flogging a child and the child was saying, mommy, cool down.
Yes,
mommy, cool down. That mommy is a beast. Sorry to use that word. You're doing it to correct that child.
Yeah.
You're not doing it out of hatred. Parents should be careful when they indulge in misplaced aggression.
Okay.
Some, because of the way the day has gone, because of the challenges you have, personal challenges, you tend to put it on the child. Now, it does not mean again, if I stand on correction and love, when you correct this child, that does not mean you keep malice with the child all through the day.
Okay.
You've corrected this child. By the next minute, that issue is gone. Call back this child. Play with the child. You're giving that child assurance. Look, I correct you because I love you. I correct you because for you to be good. I correct you because tomorrow will be better for you.
Yeah.
Most parents keep malice with their growing youths. Do you know that? Because of peer influence. Even when you're talking and they go out and the ill is done, please, don't try to be toxic to your children. Don't develop toxic communication.
Okay.
If a child falls by maybe misappropriation of funds, failure without intimating you, indulges in one thing or the other that is not of the family background, as you correct that child, let it go.
Okay.
Follow up that child in prayer. Follow up that child with positive attitude.
Okay.
Don't call back past issues. Don't dwell on past issues. Don't talk to the child and say, yesterday that was what you did. Now today again, some parents lay curses on their children. There are things you do and the child sits back and asks himself or herself, is this my parents? Is this my mother? Is this my father? Look, for me, I discipline. I flog. But I must tell you, I love my kids and they love me. I flog. If you're too far away, If I'm scolding, they are far away because it will end up with small touching.
Okay.
But after that, I play with my kids. Learn to play as you correct them. That error don't pass. You bring them back, and then you ask them, "Do you understand why this? Do you know the implication why I did this?" Okay. You're giving them reassurance. Okay. You're teaching them not to do that again. Then by the time after cautioning them, you say, "I will punish you. There will be no this for you. There will be no food for you." The child will eat out.
Yes.
If you want to strangulate that child, is a growing child. That child must look for survivor, and it will be negative or positive survivor. Okay. So parents, while you correct, please correct in love.
Yeah. So in fact, let's go back. In terms of our societal values being eroded, for example, most of our children not able to speak their local languages, there's corruption, violent acts, and all that. What is the way forward? I'm sure that was like an additional question, like somebody asked me this morning, just listening to the promo video, he said, what about us, parents like us that have adult children, and are experiencing one issue or the other with our children? How is it too late for us? Please, can you answer that question for us?
It's never too late. It's never too late. I feel for you, but I must tell you, I bear the burden more than you do. Our youths are our future, and we must strive to bring them back to their original state, how they are being designed to be by God.
Okay.
Now, let me say, if a child derails, if a child, despite all you've done, is not following up, please can you seek the help of a social worker?
Okay.
Seek the help of a clinical psychologist. Seek the help of a counselor. Most parents don't, they hide it until they are being swallowed up. Problem solved, a problem half shared is half solved. Why don't you go to those that are professionally trained? Why don't you go to the people that will preach peace of heart to these kids, and that is the men of God or the pastors?
Okay.
There are ways you follow such issues. When you fail, the early aspect of child upbringing is orientation.
Okay.
You're building up the child, the social as to enhance the social functioning and the coping capabilities. But when you have failed in this, it's reorientation. Okay. Because something else has occupied the mind of the child. Okay. And then there is need to reorient the child that this is not the right way.
Okay.
It is never too late. That is why we have the National Orientation Agency. They would also collaborate with counselors, raise problems. What is a social problem? A social problem is something that affects mainly the population, more people in the society. And I think this issue of a child upbringing, communication, high crime rates, and indulgence in other misdemeanors and criminal activities, I think reorientation will go a long way to help us. It is never too late. Let me give you an example. There's about earlier or later this week, I watched a TV program, ICUSA International, I think that's the International Convention of Catholics in USA. A 16-year-old girl came up and she used Igbo language. They even gave her award in USA. She used Igbo language to address the crowd for more than 45 minutes. Really? Non-stop. And I commended the family. Now, if you have missed it, if you don't, do you know that sometimes visitors could be in the house and you use your language to tell your child something to do? That is confidentiality. Yeah. There could be times you need to use your language and say something to the child. Always speak it to the child, no matter their level of education. From childhood, if you've missed, like you said, the children are grown up. If you've missed it, for those coming up, let's start it. Okay. The family rules, the moral upbringing, and other supervisory rules, let's be there. But where you have missed it, the counselors and the pastors, they're there to help. And then as parents, these children are from your loins. Declare what you want upon your child and you see it come to pass. Okay. Don't cry and think all hope is. I have cases where I'm handling it, I'm seeing the future. bright, but you see them tell you that this child don't go finish, is lost. How can the child be lost? You are the mother. Speak out. Pray over that child. A child that you raise up with prayers. A child that you taught the way of the Lord. A child that you give him that moral upbringing. That child, yes, I know that peer influence is very tough on our youth.
Yes.
But when they derail, they know how to trace their footsteps back. And that is going back and making amends to all the ills they've been involved in. So it's never too late. Reorientation should be our watchword for now. And I think the government has a major role to play. Because if you don't empower the National Orientation Agency, how will they go about it? So there is great need to empower them. They are doing great. They can work in collaborations with councillors and others. And again, employment of councillors, please. Can we take it to the 3 tiers of government?
Okay.
We fought for this. As a social worker, I have fought for this. Our assembly should maybe promulgate laws or something. Let counseling start from childhood.
Okay.
From the nursery, from the primary school. Let them be to the secondary school. Let's not wait until the problem is there and it takes time to, because it takes time for you to redirect the mind.
Yes.
But if that child grows up, it is already inborn in that child. The child grows up with it as a kind of an innate ability.
Yes, exactly.
And you see the child exhibit it. When we have a healthy family, we have a healthy nation.
Okay. Our time is almost up. And one last comment, I'll just take one last comment. It says it's also wrong for some parents who compare their children to other children. You know, I've had my child, I just had tell me before, say, Mommy, don't compare me with twins. Don't compare me totally. Say, I don't see that. Mommy, I don't like it. Don't compare me. And I stopped it. You know, so I think we need to address this child's situation, you know, each of them, address them according to their, to their abilities. So one last word for our people. I wish we could go on and on and on. Eh?
Can I say it?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
You see, every human being has that spirit of individuality.
Yeah.
Even the twins are not the same.
Yeah.
Now, parents should try to put away comparison, because the children are of different makeup. Yeah. Most times, this comparison leads the youth astray.
Yeah.
By God's special grace, I'm a youth advocate. I did my master's work in juvenile delinquency and rural development, and I discovered that most of the things parents do their children. You see a mother that will say, "You're here. You there. They want me Monday afternoon night food. Veronica, they there. The child will go out. You are waiting. You bring come back. A child that is not working. The mother is asking the child, because you're beginning to compare that child. When you compare the child, have you bothered to know what that person did to be there? Don't compare this child. When you know that the child is weak, try and build the child. Mm-hmm. If you cannot, go to the professionals. They will help you build the child's social function.
Okay, one last word for our people. Last advice. The parents and our children. We have a lot of youths out there too connected.
I have passion for youths and women, but I must confess here. Please, parents, let's ask the Lord to give us the grace to do what we are called to do. Healthy upbringing of our children, leading our children in the ways of the Lord, teaching our children the rights, the do's and the don'ts. It is our responsibility. Our children is our future.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. In short, it's been a great time here. I wish we could go on, but time is not our friend. And the key thing we have talked about here is the role of the parents in building the communication with our children. You are the first agent to communicate these values to your children. Don't leave it in the hand of the maids. Don't get so involved that you do not look into your home, what happens. And I've also heard here that we need to set up laws, even right from when our children being born small and then they grow, into adults. And again, it is not too late for that child that has gone astray. You can also bring back that child. You can seek the help of a counselor, like our mommy here. I tell you, anytime, any day, she's ready to speak to you. Well, this is National Orientation Agency, Rivers State, And we're excited that you will stream live with us this afternoon. You can catch up on our previous episodes by going to YouTube, search for NOA River State, and don't forget to subscribe. Again, this is National Orientation Agency, and this is a program supported by UNICEF. Thank you.